Hello everyone, please join your hands. And bow. Hello everyone. This morning, one more. I was watching the Orion spacecraft crew working together in this small spacecraft. You know, the spacecraft that is traveling to the moon right now. So they are in between. They are closer to the moon than to the Earth, and they have this from their viewpoint. So they have this moon at the horizon, and they are going there. And so you can watch on social media some of their kind of life and how they live together. And so I thought that their perspective is quite interesting. All right, to see, first of all, to see that Earth from very far away, right? So we live on Earth. Right now we are on Earth. We just imagine it as a big sphere, right? But we are really mostly centered around what we are living right now, let's say in our apartment, in our close vicinity. So we do not always have the Earth as this big ball floating in the dark space in mind. But sometimes in some occasions, like for these astronauts, they have that. So they step, it's like, and I thought that it's quite nice, let's say, comparison with sometimes our practice, that we can step back and maybe relax our mind to have a bigger picture, or to relax and to include more, to include, to expand somehow the mind, to see not only the thoughts of our problems, but really to almost integrate more space. So I thought it was a good comparison. And also because they have this, they are in this small kind of hutch. So I don't know how big it is, but it's like maybe not bigger than a bedroom, a small bedroom. And they live four of them together. Right, men and women, they have to work, they have to sleep, they have to exercise, they have to report to Earth what they are doing, and they are in this tiny space. So it's better for them not to hate each other, right? Or they have to have quite also some quite good mindfulness of themselves, of their body, on their how they move in this small space, not to hit anyone, not to knock a device or something. So they must know their body quite well in order to know where to move. So they have to be mindful, actually. they also have to know how they feel, because they have to report, because they are studying how the human body can survive and handle this kind of deep space travel and long travel in space. So they have to, be mindful how they feel. Also to feel if they are sick, if there is any problem in their body. Of course, they have sensors, maybe also in their kind of suits or uniform, but they also have to feel their energy levels, their focus levels, because they have to do some tasks where they focused on something while the other are moving around them. So mindfulness of feelings, mindfulness of the body. Of course, they have to know how also they feel mentally, and really respect some kind of having to work together. They have to work together, nor against each other, and respecting each other roles and space, even in a tiny space. And also what is interesting is that they had somehow to have courage to just get into this craft and be fastened on this kind of big rockets, so facing death at that moment. So contemplating death. Most probably say, okay, yeah, and anyway, go, fasten the seatbelt, be ready, stay focused. And why do they do that? They always, that's interesting, the kind of message they are talking. And I was quite surprised that still there is this, they really are still focused on the unity of humanity. And it feels to me that they are also conveying messages of peace for humanity. Just looking at that big ball, big sphere floating, and say, yeah, we are together on this spacecraft in the middle of this black space. This is Earth. And they are in this tiny capsule going really far away. The four of them, right, exploring, but still it's kind of simile. And say, we are together. And we do that not for ourselves, but for humanity, right? So there is this they have this sense of there is this sense of selflessness and this sense of, yes, helping others, helping humanity, regardless of gender, regardless of skin color, and I hope regardless of any country, because countries and boundaries on a map are just concepts, right? And that was, I thought that they might have quite some training, yes, in all of these aspects. And I said, okay, it seems like also what we are developing here. And this is a way to introduce the practice I would like to for us to do this morning. It's not a Buddhist practice per se, but it's using the mind um, to change perspective. And it can somehow be applied when you are kind of really stuck in a specific kind of not only thought patterns, but when you are stuck around a problem or a situation. And it's helping just to broaden your perspective, and or to sometimes we say also open the mind, but how you do that. So you can use a support, use the power of the mind to imagine in order to do that. So we can use the mind as a kind of spacecraft, and this is what we are going to do. So sometimes there are people who can actually very well picture in their mind, even picture things that they've never seen. For others, it might be more difficult. This is an invitation. It doesn't have to be very precise. And so just do your best. And I'm inviting you now to close your eyes so that we can start the practice. We will travel from where we are to deep space and back. Don't worry, we are coming back. So you can take a few moments to feel your own body. Close your eyes. You can feel your entire body from your legs, your feet on the floor, maybe sitting on a cushion or on a chair, left and right of the body, front and back, and the head and on top of the head. You can sense your breath for a few moments, inhale and exhales. So to bring the attention back into the body. Feeling the body as a wall. And now I invite you to put your attention on the forehead. You can make it smooth, relaxed. And the area between the eyebrows, you can also relax that area, kind of open it Smooth it and make it like a large flat area. You can start to feel some tingling there. You can smoothen the skin there. And then you can bring your attention further back inside the skull. Maybe try to locate a bit center between the ears, between the top and the bottom of the head, behind the middle of the forehead. Then try to picture in your mind your body sitting here in your room where you're in right now. The room, the building you are in. And then try to picture your neighborhood, maybe the house around your own house, buildings around the buildings you're in, maybe some green areas, gardens, forest. If there are some people around, include them. You can feel them. Pets, animals, bugs, crawling bugs, birds, the grounds, the roads, cars. And then expand to the city. If it's a small village, then you can expand to villages around, more cities. It doesn't have to be a perfect picture. Just let the mind receive images of what it can be. The big city nearby, all the buildings, the people, the animals, the ground, the sky, then your country. You can expand your mind even further, taking the other countries around, all the forests, the rivers, maybe some seas, some lakes, some fields, the coast, the people, trees. The plains, the mountains. And then you can extend even further, taking into this mind picture the deserts of Earth, the mountains areas, all the continents, the sea, the oceans, the clouds, all the icy areas on the North Pole, South Pole. We take in all kinds of grounds, flat, mountain, water, the winds, different temperature on planet Earth, from very cold area to very hot areas. From very liquid areas with all the nature there, all the fauna, the flora, the fishes in the oceans, the big fishes, the small ones, all kinds of different animals. We know, we don't know, all kinds of beings. All kinds of people, small ones, big ones, young ones, old ones. Ones with very white skin, ones with very dark skin, yellowish, reddish. Everyone has its own story. Yet all living there on this big planet Earth with all the animals, the insects, sharing this space. From top to bottom, really all hemispheres. With night, with daylight. And now I invite you that you have this picture in mind with all of us together on the planet Earth. We can step back a bit further as we could somehow levitate away from the ground, have this perspective like we can lift us up or lift us away from the ground, stepping back further and further, seeing from the perspective as if we were in the sky, and everything starts to become smaller and smaller. The further we go away, the further the trees become, the cities becomes like a blurred. No more details of every building. The more we go up, the less detail we can see. We can see maybe continents now, the blue areas of the oceans and the sea. Go further, further, further away, seeing the Earth as this sphere floating in the black deep space. Still keeping in mind all of these animals, beings, humans living there. We can see the planet Earth and the living beings as a big organism. We can see this big sphere floating, no support on the bottom at all, nor on the left nor on the right, nothing on top. There is no top, no bottom, no left nor right in space. Deep black space. And this ball floating around. We can expand further, maybe have a sense, felt sense of the other planets, of the star, the sun, of other stars, maybe some points around of light, points of light. We can expand further. Some other planets are floating around. And we are slowly coming back from our exploration. Slowly we get closer to the Earth. It was a tiny, tiny ball floating in space. As we come closer, it becomes bigger and bigger. We can see more and more details. The blue, greenish color of the seas and oceans, and the brown, yellowish color of the continents. The clouds, we can come closer and closer. It looks so now. We are so close that we cannot perceive the spherical shape. Come closer, closer, and closer to reach the ground, back to our location that we are right now. Closer and closer, we start to discern more and more details. Maybe some big cities, the shape of our country, coming closer and closer again, seeing some maybe forest fields. We can see our city, our building, our neighborhood, more and more details. And we can come back in our room and in our body. And we can take a few moments to realize if our mind want to stay actually very, very open, or if it's a kind of relief to be back into the body. We can take a few moments to express metta, loving kindness, to all beings on this planet Earth. We share that space all together: bugs, birds, fishes, animals, human beings, sharing the same atmosphere, same air, same ground. There is no superior, inferior. May all beings live in peace. May all beings be free from suffering. Now, whenever you are ready, take your time, go slowly, slowly, and you can come back and open your eyes. I'm going to ring the bell 3 times. Thank you for your practice. We, in the past, if I recall correctly, also with metta, we went progressively from maybe ourselves to the neighborhood, and then to the city, to the entire city, to all beings, and to the entire planet Earth. We can actually extend even further, of course, to our galaxy, to all galaxies, and further away. Of course, we do not know the entire universe and go to the limit of the universe, but then it's a way to, because maybe we do not have precise image of how to know how to picture that. There might be even a kind of more release of the mind. So we can say, okay, it's using imagination. It can be helpful to actually take, let's say, the deep space of the universe outside of the planet Earth as a kind of object, and in order to match this big, large space with the mind. And I don't know if you felt that, but it's like once the mind is expanded, then it looks like a bit more, there is a kind of, well, it depends from people to people, but it looks like, the mind starts to feel what it is to be in this uh, kind of expansion, not contracted, and it somehow wants to stay there. Oh, going back to earth, going back to the body, going back to the city, going. Uh, oh no, already back to planet Earth. No, let me stay in the deep space, right? So feel that also, because you're training to know what are the signs that the mind likes to take as an object, and in order to release some reactions and compulsive behavior. We were talking last week about taking some signs that are wholesome. So I say, okay, maybe a Buddhist teacher, but deep space can be also a sign in which the mind can relax, and kind of it helps letting go of some compulsive thinking, and it also prepares for the jhanas, the absorption states and the immaterial states, right? Because there is one of the jhanas, the sixth jhana, which is called the base of infinite space, before the space of infinite consciousness, and then further the base or the sphere of nothingness, and the last one, the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. So it's quite very, how to say that, very mundane way to put your life, let's say, back into perspective, to see how tiny we are, but yet how our inner world, how our life seems so important, seems so big in our mind, yet we are tiny, tiny. And when we start also to imagine and include everyone, different culture, old, big, small, any kind of gender, then you start to realize that, yes, we are not. I feel very alone right now, with my situation, problems and so on. But then when you start to expand, say, okay, we are really living together in this kind of ball, like the Orion spacecraft. Yeah, tiny, kind of tiny space. If we start to, fight or, I don't know, bomb each other, it starts to, we will explode the spacecraft. We will kill each other. Is there a way to actually communicate and manage to live together? in this tiny space. So it's a way to kind of moderate the contraction of the mind on certain areas of our life, right? Deep space looks very uh, kind of relaxing because there is mostly nothing. It's also kind of, yeah, there is no problems there. There's nothing that kind of can hit me. But it can also make some fear arise because, as I said, yeah, this ball, there is no top, no bottom, there is no support. It can, it feels like our body is so used to gravity than imagining this big ball without any support. And you see it, it's almost like firing some fear of falling down. So falling down. Is it falling? Is it? How is it holding? Then the mind starts to, of course, start to light up around this kind of questions. Say, okay, deep space again. So that was just an invitation. Um, I don't remember really the origin of this kind of meditation. I think that there was um, maybe a while ago, I did a guided meditation with Bhikkhu Bodhi. It was maybe around uh, a metta meditation, and he was also inviting this kind of perspective from macrocosm to microcosm, and so to go away and come back. And I adapted it today. And it also allows you to see that, so how interconnected we are, how your own life depends on actually the behavior of others, and how this organic body really depends on the so many uh, factors, like the quality of the air you breathe, the food you ingest also. So it depends, of course, of the pollution of the air. So it depends on everyday's behavior regarding pollution and so on. And also the the quality of the food you ingest depends on many people. So there is there is so many interactions, and you start to realize that your behavior will affect many people. And there is so many interactions that it's very difficult to know where it starts and where it ends. So we feel like individuals Yet this kind of boundary is visual, like, the skin bag. But we cannot really be this being without all the interaction that we have with each other. There is this codependency or this interdependency between human beings, with animals too, of course, any kind of being. And if you are able to do so, of course, you can also expand to other realms, Mhm. Formless realms. I also wanted to talk about something else, but I see that the time is almost over already, so I keep that for the next time. It was about, I was reflecting back on my journey, spiritual journey, and wanted to make a kind of uh, list of some practices and some factors, parameters that were really important, that were really a very good support for the journey, and that I thought it would be interesting for you to know about them. Not that you have to really stick on this list, but to say, oh yeah, okay, this part, this area is not well developed in my life, and maybe it could be a good support for my practice and so on. And so, for example, I would say I would start with that really morality was really a big support in this spiritual journey. Sila. So the development of virtues. And it really looks like nowadays the emphasis is mostly made on the maybe mindfulness practice or on awareness, right? And morality, because it really looks like we put more constraints around our life. We might feel already very constrained by having to earn some money to pay the bills, and it looks like more and more difficult, because we depend on so many people, let's say, to have access to good air and to food that we can afford, that we say, oh, it's more and more constrained. I don't know at the end of the month how I could even pay my bills, or how I could send my children to school or to university, and it becomes more and more constrained around money, around how far now you can also travel, because it becomes more and more expensive. Maybe your work is not is also difficult, and also getting access to healthcare might be difficult. And for all those reasons, maybe adding something that sounds like morality and virtues So I have to give again more. I have to really train again, not to. But I would say now, looking back at what was supportive for my practice, really the five, at least the five precepts that um, not lying, not abstaining from lying, abstaining from killing living beings, abstaining from um, stealing what is not, abstaining from taking what is not given to us, abstaining from sexual misconduct, and abstaining from taking any intoxicants which blur the mind. Those were very, very supportive. So it looks like, all right, meditation, 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 sitting practice, walking practice, and morality must be a very strong support, actually. I would say, so I do not want to really give some some skills, but as much as sitting, as much as sitting in everyday life, really paying attention to what you say, to your speech, to be, and its integrity. And then you start, because you really abstain from that, you kind of build some confidence even into yourself. It gives strength also to the mind, saying, oh no, this I discard, this I abstain from, because I know it's gonna hurt myself and hurt others. Just that, it's those five small habits. And of course, taking intoxicants for the mind, then also if you have, I don't know, it can go also from any kind of things that you ingest and that blurs the mind, then you cannot sit afterwards, right? And the mind is not at peace, or the way you are perceiving the world is completely modified, altered, and not allowing them to sit and to do, just even serenity practice. Morality was a very, very strong support for the practice. Yes. So you can train in that. You can also expand the precepts to the eight precepts. I can talk about that maybe next time. And also because when sometimes you, in the practice, when you start to understand more and more about the working of the mind and the body, then there are stages in the insight practice that are start to become very dark, and say that you will reach dark moods. So in those times, strong morality is very important. because you will have no longer, it's like this big earth. At some point you will, you might in the course of the practice kind of lose ground, you know. Say, okay, I want to completely, you will want to maybe completely shut down, completely change your life, or you will have also, because of too much maybe meditation, and there are, if you go into intense practice without a teacher or a guide, you might also hit some kind of strange areas that might also turn you into a kind of psychosis, and then you might have strange ideas. So better to train morality before, yes, and stick to that. Or if you are very confused in your life and you don't know what to do, it looks a very complicated situation that you are in, then you say, okay, I keep I keep abstaining from lying. I keep abstaining from, even if you do not know what to do, if you keep those 5, then it's kind of safety, safety kit, safety kit. It's kind of safety jacket you can put on. Say, okay, maybe in the sea, you know, you're in the sea, no longer on the boat. You do not know where you are going. You're floating around, but you are floating still. So you say, okay, maybe you are pushed by the wind. You don't know where you are going, when you will be rescued or what, but you have this safety jacket with you. Okay, I won't lie. Even if I would lie, it looks like it would help me in that situation, because I could manipulate the others' view about me, about the situation, and so on. Well, or I could keep this information for myself. Then, if that other person doesn't have that information, then of course he won't make that choice and that choice, which is not in my favor. See, and you see, it looks, if I look back now, when I really, in the past, when I really want to keep some information for myself, because the truth of this information was against my wanting, but anyway, I said this, let's say the truth of the information, then even if I thought that if I wouldn't say that, if I would lie, then it would be in my favor, I would say almost all the time, 100% of the times, when I said I didn't lie instead of lying, then the situation went went well. Actually, went well, and I felt good. You feel good of not lying. The heart is okay. Okay, I could have done that. I didn't, and yeah. Then deep space, you know, deep space, because then it's, oh, they will discover, you know, they will discover. And not only that, it's just that, yeah, because it's not, lying is not accompanied with a pleasant feeling. It's accompanied with unpleasant feeling. Anyway, so just the example of lying. And then that's funny, because you really lose the habit of lying. And I realized that in the past, really maybe 20, 30 years ago, I could use it quite often, not knowing, you know, not knowing. And as a way to navigate this life, everybody does that. Nobody is an open book. So we have our secrets. And we don't want others to do this or that. So we use lying. as a way to, because we want to control. So at the beginning, it's really counterintuitive, and we are always, because we know that we use lying, so other also use lying as a way to get their things done and to control their life. So you're always like, is he telling the truth? Or you're always like, kind of, yeah, there is no trust. There is no trust. There is no trust because what you use, the other used too. And then you will see also that if you start abstaining from lying, then so first, of course, you will be more relaxed. Yes. And because you won't have to think, oh, what did I say last time that I didn't? Oh yeah, I have to. You have to build up some convenient, some consistent stories about what you said, and yeah, because you feel, if you don't lie, you don't, you feel relaxed, and the others will start to also trust you somehow. They say, okay, this person, when she says something, actually her speech is coherent with what she does. And but when she, of course, when you, for example, even very simply, uh, if you say that you are going to do something, then you know that you are going to do something, or that you are able to do it. It's just not saying that you are going to do something in order to buy time. In order to buy, yeah, I'm going to do it. So it's in order to make the other shut up and leave you alone. And yeah, so if you say you're going to do it, you do it. So you start to have kind of a coherency between what you think, what you say, and what you do. So you do not use a speech only to get your way out, all right? Or get your way, having someone do something for you that you want. This is just a small example around lying. And then at some point, because you start to have the results of um, a life in which there is no lying, when you have more and more, like, I would say, alignment between what you think, what you say, and what you do, and the results of that, and how, let's say, as your life is a kind of mirror of this um, alignment, how the environment and the people around you react to this kind of alignment, then you forget about lying. You don't even use it because you have negative results. If you really analyze it, have a look back. So you start to abandon and say, okay, it's really supportive. It's really supportive because I can I can sleep well at night. I do not have nightmares about people being kind of attacking me. You can have different kind of dreams. and that even in your dreams, people are kind of offensive and enemies. And at some point, these kind of dreams do not even come, do not recur. Pleasant dreams until you no longer dream. All right, this was a very short talk about morality, how it can be supportive. And just to conclude, it's don't make it a very well, if you cannot maintain, or there are situations where you lied, and reflect on causes and effects, what it brought into your life. You can meditate a little bit before doing that, just to not do this contemplation with a confused mind, and then say, okay, it was not that beneficial, and so I'll try next time not to do it, right? Do not be very... You can also relax a bit around that, okay? Because let's say, the inner judge can be... Let's say the more you punish yourself, or the more negative self-judgment you can have around the precept, the less, the more difficult it will be to keep them. So always bring metta if you do not manage to do that, and say, oh, and then resolve. Say, okay, next time I will pay attention. I will try again. Okay, so thank you for your attention, and I wish you all a nice Sunday. And if you have any questions about today's meditation, or about morality, please feel free to ask. You can reach me anytime. If you have any questions, you can write. And if you need to go, please feel free to go. Thank you.